Welcome everybody to a new video. I'm your host Crash Into Wars 2, and today I'm going to be doing a little rant about DC and Marvel. There have been many movies out that have been made and remade and tried to fix things in the past, and just most of the time they do get it right, most of the time they don't. So I'm going to give a few examples, like Spider-Man. The original Spider-Man. It was really good. Everybody liked it, Tobey Maguire, and there were some scenes that people definitely questioned. And then there was Spider-Man 2, which was still okay, but then people started disliking it. And then Spider-Man 3 happened, and that's when it dropped. So then they tried to reboot it again, and then they made The Amazing Spider-Man, and that was, in my opinion, really good. I loved it. Even the Amazing Spider-Man 2, that was really awesome. But apparently, some people didn't like that actor. I was a huge Spider-Man fan growing up because he was agile. He had Spider-Man spinning web powers and Spidey sense, and he was agile. My brother, we used to collect Got Milk pictures. And so we have Spider-Man, the Hulk, the Hulk, and then the Dark Knight. So we're gonna get into DC next, but these are my opinions about Spider-Man, Spider-Man, and then the Amazing Spider-Man. So what I really liked about Spider-Man 1 was that they actually got the wrestling part correct. Because that was actually one of the first things in the Spider-Man storyline. And actually, I have a box of comics in here, and it has a lot of the original Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man comics. So I'm going to be referring to this a whole lot. So, pulling out the first one. Also in the first one, there was no Green Goblin. Green Goblin came way later. So that was one of the first things that was just, no, they should not have done that. Well, they actually had a pretty good idea of where, I think both Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man did a pretty good job on showing the radioactive spider and all of that. Yep, and including the advertisements there. But like, they tried their best, and it kind of showed that it was radioactive, but they only explained that there was part of the, just experimentation put on it. But then the next thing that you see in the original Spider-Man is that he actually goes to a wrestling place and goes into a costume. Ah, there it is. Into a costume. And he actually did that in the first Spider-Man, which I was really happy about. And then Green Goblin happened, and then that was bad. And also, Spider-Man never had any, like, oh, it comes out of my hand! And then in, which one was it? Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3, he, like, gave up on being Spider-Man. He's like, oh no! I can't shoot my spider webs! I must not be believing in myself enough, and I'm gonna be depressed. That was stupid. In the comics, he made his own Spider-Man, or the web shooter things, the wet cement, and they actually they did that well in The Amazing Spider-Man. I love that they actually showed the chemistry and all of that. Let's see. Okay, in The Amazing Spider-Man, who was the bad guy in The Amazing Spider-Man? I forgot. Oh, it was the Lizard. Okay, so now we're going to start going into, like, chronological order of bad guys. The bad guy in the first one was just the robber that killed Uncle Ben. But then in Volume 6 was when Doc Ock came. So they kind of had that right with the Spider-Man 2, where they actually did have Spider-Man fight Doc Ock. And that was pretty good, because also they sort of referenced how Spider-Man did try to defeat Doc Ock right away, but he failed and so he was forced to retreat, and this was actually he lost the first time he fought Doc Ock, and that was true in the Spider-Man 2, because he lost, and then he had to come back and fight him. So, again, and in the next volume, he actually beat him. So, and then, also in Spider-Man 3, Venom never happened until way later, closer to Goblin, because that was also when you find out that the Goblin genes and the symbiote are, like, kind of connected, sort of. But they had Sandman, correct? They had him, correct? But Spider-Man never changed his, like, identity. He was always Spider-Man. He was never the Black Spider-Man, or with Venom attached to him. Venom came way later. And then the Lizard happened, which is the actual bad guy for the Amazing Spider-Man. So, I kind of had that right, sort of. Maybe, like, in chronological battle order. And then, what was after that? Electro. Yeah, and then I think, yeah, actually, let me go through this more. It's been a long time that I've looked through these comics, but I remember... Oh, dang. So, wow. Okay, so it was the Lizard first, or before Electro, and then the Vulture was next, which I think that's what they were teasing for in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with all of the Sinister Six. I think that went later. I think that was later in the story, because Spider-Man fought the Vulture twice, and then there's Electro. There's Electro. So, overall, they had the enemies correct, but the actual story writing was not very well done, because there were a lot of nitpicking things that the fans just pounded on, and they were like, no, this is not right. Everything that you've done is wrong. There are little things that you've messed up on, and it doesn't make sense for the rest of the story. And yeah, it was a nightmare for them, probably. I'd imagine. So, yeah, that's my collection of Spider-Man comics. I have a lot. There's like 20 or 25 volumes, I think. So that's Spider-Man. And now we're going to get into the other Marvel stuff. See, I've noticed from a lot of people that they choose to have... they like the Marvel movies better than the comics, because, or at least for me, I love the comics of DC, because DC it is darker, definitely, but it also carries on a longer storyline, and it has to have a longer resolve. Because just like these, every issue, every individual comic book, Spider-Man beats the villain. No hero can beat them that quickly. I mean, apparently if you're like Spider-Man, or Captain America. This was also from the Free Comic Book Day. I got this from my brother, and he gave this to me. So, I mean, Captain America has a long history with Red Skull, but I think for the Avengers, they did a better job at, like, keeping a longer storyline, because also with Civil War and all of that, and the Infinity Wars, I think. Yeah, that's Marvel. Sorry. As we've seen from Civil War and Batman v Superman, they're starting to blend together. And there have also been other comics where they have fought together, like the DC universe and the Marvel universe clashing. And so that's like something crazy to see. But as of right now, I'm just ranting, and I'm totally fine with that, because I want to hear y'all's opinions about DC and Marvel. So go right ahead and put anything that you want in the comments section about any ideas about Marvel saying that it's better, giving me reasons why I should be actually with Marvel. Yes, I'm wearing Captain America's shirt. I am Team DC, though. Actually, no. Sorry. I'm Team DC with the comics, but I am Team Marvel for the movies. The movies definitely have better storyline and everything. Like, that's much better than, like, The Dark Knight. I was actually not impressed with The Dark Knight. It's... Bane and Batman. In The Dark Knight Rises, that just looked like a wimpy fight. Honestly, if you play Injustice, they are going ham on each other, like whack, whack. Like, you can tell there's force, even though it's a video game. You can tell there's a force in every punch. But in the movie, they're just like, oh, shove into a wall, boom. I'm unconscious, and then just a little smack. That's all it is. And even Bane's famous backbreaker, I wasn't impressed with. Like, it looked like he was dropping a dummy on his knee. I'm sure that's what they actually used, but you could tell it was a dummy. Like, sure, Batman could have been, like, knocked out and, like, unconscious and just like, limp. So when he picked him up, he was like, and then, whack! That's probably all, like, you could imagine that's how Batman was like in that scene, but you could still tell there was no effort in it. So, but now we're getting into DC, and, Suicide Squad is also on here, which is, actually covering up this side because I know my nieces and nephews watch my channel sometimes, so I don't want them to see some of that. So, but yeah, I mean, like, here, I'll just show that, and you can turn your head upside down. Suicide Squad, yes, that, like, this is a crazy story. Craziness, because, well, the government is doing craziness with criminals, but in a twisted way. It's okay, because they're helping them do good things, but then it's also bad. So it's twisted. But that's why people are so interested in the comics of DC, because it's a twisted, good thinking that's just... it messes with your brain a little bit. So, but then I also have Batman and the New 52 Endgame. This is the second to last issue of it. And then I also have, like, old Batman comics, the old Batman type, and, like, Detective Comics. You guys saw that. And then also I have Superman. So I love the DC comics. They are much better than the Marvel, in my opinion. Because also, I have The Flash, Season 0. This is based off of the show that's airing. And they're on their Season 3 in October, and I'm really excited. Woo! Or, wait, is it September? I keep forgetting. October or September, one of those two. But it's gonna be awesome! Because in this season, The Flash reset the timeline. So, with that being said, I have to now read the New 52, which this is actually before Barry resets the timeline. So, well actually, because the New 52 is the resetted timeline, I should have actually read Flashpoint, because Flashpoint is right before the New 52. The Flashpoint is in between the other DC comics and the New 52. But anyways, I digress. There's, I just love The Flash because the art style is incredible. Like, that is awesome artwork. That, compared to... Alright, hang on. Let me find another picture. Yeah, right here. Look at that! He looks so strong and tough, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get in there, and I'm gonna knock out those criminals, and I'm gonna send them to jail! He's like... This is DC. Marvel, on the other hand... Okay, and then comparing to this, Spider-Man. Like, that's a cool, heroic shot, but but that's just him in the air, just being like, yeah, I'm Spider-Man, I'm swinging around the city, I'm doing free jumping, free running stuff, and all of that. And it's... DC is just, has cooler art style. Because even like that, that's much cooler than, say this. Like, this shows more like, it's comedic. Partially because it's also the Joker, because the Joker is using a punching glove to punch Batman, and you can even see, like, some spit is coming out of his mouth. But then also his body is turned into the shape of, like, his symbol, his logo. So that's cleverly drawn. This is just an action shot. That's... I don't know. I'm just ranting now, but anyways, that's my opinion about Marvel and DC. You guys can put in a lot of comments down below of like, no, Marvel is better because it's got a lot of action scenes and there are a lot of crazy stunts and everything. And then people who are on DC side, you could say, no, DC's better because it's got tougher enemies and crazy bad guy plots and it's crazy for the villains to get through, and I don't know, just put stuff. Like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in another video for 2016.